this is early November 2017 and May 2015, 2.5 years ago. Bob Miller and I planted seeds all up and down both sides of this creek here. We had a total of 56 seeds from the fall 2014 harvest we were putting in May 2015. And here we are 2.5 years later, and this is the first one we found. Free planted, no stones above it, on its own. And there it is. And this one, I looked up close, there's no rodent damage at all. And at the very top of it, there's 3 little lateral buds right at the terminal. So next spring it's going to put out 3 lateral branches, and they'll all be spreading away from this group of trees here. And I think the reason I put it there is that I didn't want a deer to step on it, and B, this is a very steep slope here, and I wanted to get the seed in and make sure it wasn't going to get pushed down. I wanted it to have its roots rooted into something. So that is awfully close to these trees. But Bob, can you tell what kind of tree what trees these are? What are these?
I think these are just small maples.
Okay, small maples. Yeah. Okay. So let's see. So there's the sun right straight over there, and so this is a west. What is this, a west-facing slope here of this little creek? What would you say?
We're pretty much facing north this way.
Oh, so, good. This is a north-facing slope.
Yeah.
Okay,
so
because...
that kind of northwest.
Right, because we're in Loveland, Ohio, which is the northeast side of Cincinnati. And let's take a little look around here. I'll put in what the previous video was 2.5 years ago when we were planting seeds. But here you can see we got what, oaks, sugar maple. You lost your ash trees here, right?
We did indeed, but looks like, I think.
What's this, a chestnut oak right here? What is that hasn't lost its leaves yet?
That is a chinkapin oak.
Oh, a chinkapin oak. Yep. Okay. And that's a gigantic, red oak there? What is that? What's that beauty there?
Yeah, that should be a red oak. Yeah,
okay.
Northern red oak. Mm-hmm.
And then we're looking up the slope here, and up at the top, that flattens out up there. So we specifically, of the 56 seeds we planted some up there and some over there, and the last place we were planting was Bob planted some along that side, and I actually planted this one, and I think I planted 7 or 8 or 10 or something really close to this creek. But we just started looking. This is the first one I found. And Bob, we don't mind if we don't see another one, because to find a seedling out here in all these leaves is pretty incredible.
This is incredibly exciting. You're right.
Yes. Okay.
Yes,
well,
indeed.
We'll continue, and if we find anything else, I'll get another video of that. So let's keep exploring. I'm standing in the garden, and there's a whole row of, right along the edge of the fence there, about 29 or 30 seeds put in. And on that side of the fence, 9 have come up. On this side, 13 have come up. And so that's within 2 years of harvest. That's really remarkable to have 22 of 29 or 30 coming up. So show us where this is down here. And
so this is the first one here, and that it looks like that he planted them maybe 15 to 20 inches apart. So I say one here, one here, one here, one here, one here, one here. And then we have a gap that looks like that 2 of them did not come up in here. then another one here. Kind of a long gap here, one here. Looks like, oh, another one here. Possibly one missing here, one here. Gap, one here, one there.
Right, and then we've got similar over on that side. I'm just going to spin around here. This is a very large garden, but you can see it has to have a very tall fence to keep the deer out. And here's the other side here. And where we were exploring was over there, which is the property that the Millers own over there. So I'm going to go in now and take a little close-up of some of these. What's interesting, these first three, they're not very tall, but all of them have put some energy into one or two basal growths coming up. This one here, this one's really easy to see the basal growth in here. Let me go close in and look at those beautiful ginkgo leaves. The genus Torreya is not quite as old as ginkgo, but they both go back into the long-necked dinosaur era. These are Jurassic plants. And so there you can see a main stem, but there's two basals coming out, or codominant at the moment stems. Only one will continue up, but it's a real safety feature if a terminal gets lost in there. And here you can see another one with a basal in there, and another one over there. But most of the rest of these, when you see it tall like this, here's one that's taller than the rest, and this one didn't bother putting any energy. See how tall that is? This one didn't bother putting any energy into a basal. You can see it just goes straight down with no basal sprouts. Ultimately, as it grows, it will almost certainly put out a basal, and just hold on to it in case something happens to the main stem. Once the Torrey gets going, so long as the climate is good for it, it can keep going on and on and on from the roots, just as redwood trees can do, and ginkgos as well. Oh, here's another tall one. And yeah, these tall ones, because again, they're all from the same harvest, 2015 November, probably put in maybe early spring, possibly put in late fall or winter, but probably early spring. And when you see it that tall, it hasn't put any energy into a basal. This one's interesting because this one has no basal, but it's really tiny. So this one took a while to sprout. But again, here in the garden with this kind of fencing going down into the ground really keeps out the rodents. And so the seeds could have been planted fairly close to the surface without becoming rodent food. Here's an interesting one. And a lot of them have, I can see the terminals and 2 or 3 laterals getting ready to come out next time. I don't see any yet at this stage having 4 laterals that it would put out. But quite possibly because of the sun being so dominant, you can see my shadow, dominant behind us in this garden, ginkgo trees and a juniper, red cedar here on this side, they're not going to bother putting out much branches over in that direction. So a lot of them would probably be putting out, keeping the terminal going up, but also putting out branches mostly in this side. And over here we lose most of the ginkgo leaves, and so a little easier to see. This one is really large for this crop, and you can see it doesn't have any basals coming out, but you can also see there haven't been any rodents eating any part of it, so it's intact. Let's take a top-down look at this one too, see if we can see the terminal and the laterals. Yeah, this one's got a lovely terminal bud and 3 laterals getting ready to come out. That's really the most that any have. And then there's a few more in here. So, again, this is northeast of Cincinnati, Loveland, Ohio, and just a perfect place for Torreys to grow. So, thank you, Bob Miller.
Thank you, Connie.
Next day, I decided to come out and take another look, trying to find Torreya taxifolia here, after I watched the half-hour video I took a year and a half ago of us planting these seeds in the spring of 2015. And I talked about this hickory right behind me, filming where I had planted seeds, and I said just 8 feet behind me I planted one, and so here it is. First, I'll show a little segment of that video. So up here is the top of the hill, probably not a moraine, just glacial till, and this area was cut by the creek system in here. There's one of those really large oaks down there. Oh, this is the shagbark hickory. Well, this is an easy way to remember where this is. Right where I'm standing, uphill of this shagbark hickory, there's a little Torreya planted about 8 feet uphill from it. Bob is down there. He just planted six Torreyas on that lower part of this north-facing slope. So let's go down into the ravine itself. Here it is, this beautiful little Torreya. No basal sprouts on it. One little lateral coming out, so it looks like it had 2 growth spurts. The first one this year, maybe 5 inches, 6 inches tall, and then a little lateral coming out. I think it likes it up here. And here's another view from the opposite angle. Creek this time is down and to the left here. And as we look uphill, upstream, there's the house. And we're going to go visit now 2 seedlings that came from potted seedlings. And I'll talk about them when I get there. They'll be off in this direction toward the house. Right in that wire cage there is a little Torreya that was planted in the fall of 2016. One of 2 little trees that given to us by Jim Thompson and Culloway that had spent several years germinating from seed in pots that he kept. Come back to where I am here. And here's the other one. So this is the second one. I'll do close-ups on both of these now. In fact, I'll do a top down on this one. So this was planted exactly a year ago from potted seedling of several years germinated and growing in a pot. There you can see its structure here. Well, let's go take a look at the other one. Here is the other potted seedling, and I'm going to go down on it this way because this is the one that I show how capable Torreya is of not just using a basal to grow if something happens to the top, but here, right in the center of the picture there, you see a lateral branch coming off, actually not quite a lateral, kind of an angled branch there, coming off and to the right, and then you see another green section coming off from what's left of the stump that had been munched off by something. Oh, now this is interesting. I just went to the top of it, close up, and you can see there is no apical bud getting ready to come vertical yet. So that's it for November 2017 here in northeast Cincinnati, Loveland, Ohio, with 2 potted seedlings here doing well, and then 2 free planted germinations coming right up from seed in the forest. One, maybe 50 yards that way, and then another one further up slope here. Plus, neighbor's property over there, about 29 or 30 seeds planted, and of them, 22 have come up. So let's hope that these Florida Torreyas continue to do well here in southern Ohio.